He is a professor at St. Louis University Law School. He is also our KTRS legal analyst. Anytime we have any questions, and there are many these days about what is going on in the world, Greg Willard comes and is nice enough to give us the inside scoop. Good morning, Greg Willard.
Good morning, McGraw and Kelly.
Good morning.
All right, let's start in Jefferson City. The other day, Al Watkins, the attorney for the ex-husband, is talking, and he's talking in code about his client, the ex-husband, and the testimony he gave at this super secret hearing in a jail behind closed doors with black plastic bags on the window. Is he allowed to talk?
Yes. There are no confidentiality restrictions on witnesses that the special House committee that is reviewing this situation with the governor. There are no legal limitations, gag orders, or the like in terms of witnesses who appear before that committee.
Right. A lot of people have said that Jefferson City can't do their job until St. Louis City does their job.
False. They are two constitutionally separate matters. There is a criminal proceeding that's moving apace down in the city before Judge Burleson with a trial date set for May 14th.
Right.
There is a separate inquiry by a special committee of the House of Representatives, and that's moving ahead on its own schedule. The Missouri Constitution has not a scintilla of even a suggestion that one must precede the other.
Will the investigation in Jefferson City have any influence on the situation that's going on in the city, the case in the city?
No. The evidence and information that the Jefferson City Committee uncovers, Kelly, and learns about, I think you can make book that the prosecution and the defense either have or shortly will have all of that information. So I think it's important for our listeners and viewers to simply understand it is a very bright line. These are two independent proceedings, and the relationship between the two is negligible, if any.
All right, staying in Jefferson City for a second. Does this committee have subpoena power? Can they subpoena the governor? Does he have to testify?
Yes, they have subpoena power. As far as the governor having to testify, similar to the constitutional issues we've talked about with the president on the air, I think in the end, if as part of an impeachment proceeding, if the governor were subpoenaed to testify, I think he would be duty-bound to testify.
Same with the girlfriend, right? If she's subpoenaed, she must come and speak.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. And if you decide to object to a subpoena, Mr. Nunberg's wild and crazy ride that one day, there are consequences, and they start with a C, criminal.
Right.
So I think anyone who is subpoenaed by this special committee down in Jefferson City, it behooves them to answer the subpoena.
This is a private hearing. Will it ever be made public? Will we be allowed to see it? And why isn't it public?
It need not be public. Number one, it's a special committee of the House.
Will it ever be public?
Well, I think two things. Number one, I think it is highly likely that substantially all, if not all, of the committee's report to the House will be public, McGraw.
Okay.
There may be some confidentiality considerations at that point. I doubt it, but there may be, and they may redact that.
Right.
Once it gets to the House, and if the House then begins to consider it, it will be very public, because that then becomes an impeachment proceeding under the Missouri Constitution.
All right, let's switch to the city here. So we just found out that the prosecuting attorney, Kim Gardner, handed over everything to Ed Dowd and company, including pictures of the house in the Central West End, but apparently not the picture, right? The $1 million picture.
Right.
Can they convict? Is this a crime if they don't have that picture?
Can they convict? Let me answer it technically and practically. Technically, can they convict without the picture? Yes. because if they can prove the elements of invasion of privacy, and if what the prosecution is resting its case on is a photograph under the statute that Kelly and McGraw we've talked about on the air, then the jury can find beyond a reasonable doubt. As a practical matter, to get a criminal jury, so it has to be unanimous, to get every one of those jurors to vote to convict without the requisite photograph being produced, that's a high-risk proposition for the circuit attorney.
Right.
Have we established it's going to be a jury? It's not going to be the judge?
Well, it may be. Judge Burleson may try it as a bench trial. That hasn't been decided yet. A lot of strategic considerations that Ed Dowd and Jim Bennett and the governor are going to have to make that go both ways, Kelly. Sometimes it's in their interest to have a bench trial, no jury. And sometimes it's in their interest to have a jury.
Well, Ed Dowd said that he wants a jury trial. I don't know if that's posturing. I don't know if that's what he says now. Who knows if it'll change?
Yeah, I've heard Ed make those comments, and that may be their inclination now. And we will see. Goodness, we're 2 months away from the trial, so we will begin to see pretty quickly how the actual trial proceeding will unfold.
What are you watching? What are you seeing as all of this stuff unfolds?
I'm watching. I think in two pieces, McGraw. I'm watching very, very carefully the impeachment proceeding because I think from 80,000 feet, and let's take the governor out of it, in Missouri, if I am a public official in the United States subject to impeachment, one of the last states that I want to be subject to impeachment in is Missouri.
Why?
Because in substantially all of the other states, it's similar to the United States Congress in that the House of Representatives impeaches and the Senate convicts, tries the case.
Sure.
And as we learned with President Clinton, when the U.S. Senate tries a case, they're trying the case on, do we convict, was there a violation, and do we remove, as Senator Byrd, the late Senator Byrd. In Missouri, that second step, McGraw and Kelly, is out. With a gubernatorial impeachment trial, it is by 7 judges, and they have one question, conviction. And the Missouri Supreme Court in 1994, I think it was, made it very clear that this question of removal and whether the offense was serious enough to remove, that's not a consideration for the trier, if you will. Right. And in a Missouri impeachment, that will be decided by the House of Representatives when they impeach. So in Missouri, if you're a public official subject to impeachment, and you're looking across the river, for example, in Illinois, you say, golly gee whiz, I sure wished I wasn't subject to impeachment in Missouri because of that difference.
So let me understand this. So you're saying in the House of Representatives down in Jefferson City, they vote on whether or not whatever charge is worthy of impeachment.
Yes.
They say yes or no. Then these 7 people have to decide if he's guilty of that charge.
Yes, and it's 5 out of 7.
Right.
It's not unanimous.
Right.
And another important fact that I think it's important for our viewers and listeners to know, the standard, not to get in the weeds of the law books, but the standard that they employ is substantially lower than what we were just talking about in a criminal proceeding. In a criminal proceeding, McGraw and Kelly, the jury, or if it's a bench trial, the judge, the case has to be proven beyond a reasonable doubt. That is about as high as it gets.
Right.
In a Missouri impeachment, it's not beyond a reasonable doubt. It's clear and convincing evidence.
Oh, boy.
Substantially lower. So yet another reason I make the comment earlier on, not as to the governor in particular, but more generically, if you're a public official subject to impeachment, as the saying goes, this ain't where you want to be.
So the bar is substantially lower. It's easier to throw somebody out of office in this state.
Yes.
Who are the who picks the 7 senators?
The Senate picks the 7. The Constitution says esteemed jurists, and those 7 then will sit as the jury, if you will, and they will hear the case. But
well,
again,
I mean, that's weird too, because you could get 7 Greitens friends or 7 Greitens enemies.
Bipartisan?
Yeah.
well, the Constitution does not say. It's up to the Senate to pick. But I think I think most Missourians I think could take comfort that it will be an esteemed group of jurists, and they will take their oath very seriously. But again, their oath, unlike the oath that the United States senators take in a trial, did the accused commit the act? If the answer is yes, they are convicted.
So if the House says, hey, you know what, he cheated on his wife, that's an impeachable offense, then the argument is, did you cheat on your wife? And in the Senate, if it's like, okay, yeah, he did, the charges, he cheated on his wife. Yes, he did. There's evidence that he cheated on his wife with whatever you said, right? So that Senate votes, yes, he cheated on his wife. 5 out of 7, he's out.
He's out, and I think it goes simply like this. Under the Constitution, an impeachable offense is, quote, misconduct. If the Missouri House of Representatives finds that whatever that misconduct was is an impeachable offense, the question for those 7 jurists is, did the crime as alleged, or did the conduct in this case as alleged, did it occur? And if 5 out of 7 say yes, that public official is removed.
I have no more time, Greg Willard. Are we in uncharted territory right here?
Uncharted territory, in that we have not had a lot of impeachments in Missouri over the years. Uncharted territory, no, in the sense that the Missouri Constitution and the 1994 Supreme Court decision in the Moriarty impeachment, I think, give us a pretty good roadmap, McGraw, to follow, which is why I say, if you're a public official subject to impeachment, this ain't the place you want to be.
But Missouri has never impeached a sitting governor.
No, never has. But we saw Secretary of State Moriarty impeached and then convicted in, I think it was 1994.
And he was never convicted from his own party either. The overwhelming majority of representatives down there is his own party.
Well, that's right. And again, and that is to be crass. We can talk Constitution all we want, McGraw and Kelly, but particularly the vote to impeach. There is, dare I say, the P word, there is a political element to the vote to impeach in the House.
Greg Willard, professor of St. Louis University Law School, KTRS legal analyst. We have you on speed dial. Keep your phone on. Thank you.